survivors must have evacuated already. All that's left here are signs of devastation. Could Furina really be here? Let's try to find her as soon as possible.
Being too popular can be such a hassle. Who knew the people would adore me so much?
That's Furina, right over there. She really is here all on her own.
Should I just give up? This is all meaningless. What was meant to happen did happen after all. Everyone's dead. I'm sorry. I am so sorry. Give up, Furina. There's no point in holding out. I'm sorry. But what can I even do other than to repeat meaningless apologies over and over? Who's that?
Don't worry, Furina, it's just us.
So it is you, blonde traveler from another land. Why, I almost thought you were someone from that mob of my ignorant subjects, come to kneel and beg for my forgiveness.
Furina, you were crying just now, weren't you? The tear stains on your face are obvious.
What do you mean, tear stains? Oh, I remember. The show at the Opera House earlier this morning was so moving. I'm still trying to process it. Who did that uncivilized rabble think they were, disturbing my enjoyment of the arts? They even dare to tout their Archon. I must teach them a lesson. I can just imagine their twisted and frustrated faces once they realize that I'm nowhere to be found. Oh, and I'm sure Nouvellette and those people from the Marche Sauce Phantom are freaking out right next to them, too. Of course not.
Hey, there she is! The Hydro Archon's over there! Quick, after her!
Furina, those people seem to be after you.
They are? They're just some rabid fans who want to cut the line because they haven't been able to meet me in person, aren't they? That's against the rules. I can't let them get their way.
Furina just ran off. Quick, we have to catch up with her. This should be the place, right? Hey, Furina! There's a good hiding spot over here. Quick, come to Paimon before the rest of them catch up to you.
What is this place?
Hurry, they're almost here.
Fine. I suppose haste is warranted. lead the way.
Everyone's exhausted.
I'm so tired. I totally thought they had caught me. No, I mean, I merely gave in to the sheer enthusiasm they displayed. You're right.
Yep, that's a good girl.
What's happening? The ground's shaking. Is it an earthquake?
Yeah, a quake of this kind preceded the flooding in Poisson, didn't it?
It can't be. It's happening again.
Well, there's no need to worry too much about that. Novelette's made some emergency plans, so the evacuation should go a lot smoother this time.
Yeah, I hope you're right. But the people of Poisson, they've already... It's true. I've been investigating the prophecy for hundreds of years. I once had informants all over Tevat, searching for clues and feeding information back to me. I've tried all kinds of ways too to hold back the sea. Anything to keep the coastline from advancing. But all my efforts proved to be futile in the end. Really, the truth has been clear to me for a very long time. We cannot make an enemy of the divine. No matter what we do, the will of the heavenly principles will have its way, and the prophecy shall be fulfilled. Give up. I do love the sound of that phrase. It would mean finally coming to terms with fate, but also for me to finally be free.
Kalau mau lanjut gue cari buff dulu ya.
Oh, benenya Deci.
Oh iya.
Indeed, I've thought about giving up so many times, especially after we almost lost Poisson. Fate is really unreasonable, isn't it? It has no heart and obeys no rules. The prophecy has only just started to come true, and so many people have already lost their lives. But just now, it all became clear to me. I still don't have the right to come to terms with fate on behalf of everyone else. As long as the final moment hasn't come, it's still not too late. Don't worry. I will keep hope alive for everyone until the very end. Well, that's enough for now. I got the impulse to play the stricken maiden, but honestly, considering my rank and station, that wasn't a good fit at all. Don't take any of what I just said seriously. How could I possibly let Fontaine fall to the whims of trivial prophecy?
Come on! Paimon could have sworn you were actually being honest just now.
Share my burden. That's impossible. It was fated right from the start that this would be my duty alone. A witness. Yes, I've heard that you came to Tevat from beyond the stars, yes. In other words, you never belonged here. And if Tevat is, in its entirety, a show on a stage, Then you're just a spectator, aren't you?
Jangan tadi.
If that's the case,
Iya kan. Rumah pun baru ngambil tadi belum.
I...
Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes my opening performance. Now, without further ado, we may proceed to the trial of our god.
So, this is what it is. Yes, you deserve praise for the effort you took to raise the dramatic stakes. Do not forget, however, that I am Fosalor, the god of justice, the embodiment of justice itself. Does it not strike you as even the least bit absurd to bring the very concept of justice to trial?
May I interpret these words as your refusal to stand trial? In that case, you will have the opportunity to defend your honor through a duel.
You would draw your blade against a
Dariku mau
god?
coba dulu. Oh.
What?
I see. It seems like you have made up your mind.
Mau nggak?
Sorry, nggak denger, sorry.
Oi.
Paimon
Mau nggak?
can't believe it. She
Boleh.
just surrendered.
Ayo, tuh mungkin Jun mau nggak?
What the heck is going on? Did I just see an Archon surrender to a human?
Wow, how utterly humiliating.
Lady Furina, what is the meaning of
Tadi
this?
tuh join game gitu.
It would seem that there has been a misunderstanding.
Mana ini
To be
Jiwing rating
clear,
tinggal
the
1.
raising of both hands is not
Okay.
always an indication of surrender.
Bebas banget.
Looking for excuses again, huh?
I raised my hands just now to indicate my acceptance of the trial. No duel shall be necessary. I will admit that I've been running away for a long time. I'm sorry, everyone. I was unable to protect the people of Poisson. It is my duty to stand trial for my crimes. You are not
Dimulai
the
dari
only
level
ones to
berapa
be
nih?
disappointed in me. I too am exceedingly disappointed in myself.
Oke.
But
Ya,
now,
aku belum
it is time for
level
the
7.
Hydro
Hah?
Archon to show you her courage and resolve. I, Furina,
Okay.
will use this trial to show the world the true meaning of justice. This time, I will protect you. Applaud and rejoice. One of the most outrageous and fantastical arcs known to the opera epiclese is now unfolding before your eyes. Mark my words, this shall be one of the most exhilarating and brilliant shows ever to grace the stage of Fontaine. The trial of the Hydro Archon, Fosalor, will now begin!
Woohoo!
Now we're making history.
Why does it feel like Furina just took over the whole thing? Like, come on! Didn't she just get forced to stand trial for her crimes? Also, even though she's still acting super dramatic, she is taking this seriously this time, right?
All right, then. Who will be my opponent in this trial?
The court asks the prosecutor to please take the stand.
Is that so? Very well. Then please speak, witness of Tivat, my accuser and fated opponent.
dapet gua. Icebreaker anjir.
Also, please allow me to ask a final question before the trial begins. Just how much work did you do to force me onto this stage?
Gimana?
Well, we did do a lot of prep after the meeting that day.
I can go over the tasks assigned to the Spina di Rosula, since they were rather straightforward and easy.
Navia, the president of the Spina di Rosula.
Most of the people who participated in the disturbance this morning were my subordinates. They changed into plain clothes and came to the Opera House as regular audience members, waiting for the perfect opportunity to incite insurrection against you. The people's resentment against their Archon has been building as more and more of the prophecy is fulfilled. A spark was all we needed to turn smoldering anger into a flame. Moreover, according to our understanding and analysis of you, when something like that occurred, you would likely flee the scene and head to Poisson by yourself. So, we arranged for a second group to lie in wait there.
So, you mean the ones who scoured the settlement for me were also from the Spina?
And their goal was to force you to step into the giant magic box so you may personally participate in the greatest magic performance in all of Fontanian history.
That's right. That house was a magic box, rather than someone's residence.
As the super ultimate version of the setup that I used when I first performed at the Opera Epiclese, the volume of the box was increased by a whole order of magnitude, and the distance it traversed was the entire gap between Poisson and Araneas. Its cargo, of course, was an Archon instead of a human. My thanks, Furina. Without your help, we could never have pulled off such an extraordinary performance.
You're welcome?
Of course, this performance was only made possible with Father's support. The House of the Hearth spent a massive amount of labor in Mora to pull this off. We had to select a location, construct the giant magic box, dig a tunnel, and open up a path through the water. It was a lot of work for all of us.
So, in other words, the earthquake that we felt within the giant magic box was just a normal tremor from the transportation of the whole house?
That's right. It wasn't a sign of another disaster to come.
Then, I can guess Nervilette and Cloran's parts. You gathered a crowd, prepared a stage, and made sure that the champion duelist would be immediately ready for a fight. Also that as soon as I appeared on the stage, the trial may commence without a hitch. Am I right?
Yes, that is correct.
Well, Cloran, I must commend you for your courage. Only the most outstanding champion duelist in all of Fontaine would accept a duel with an Archon without flinching.
Why can't we for once
As for
say
you,
what we
traveler,
want?
I suppose
Say
your
what
role
we
was to keep me
feel.
distracted with conversation once you found me in Poisson. You'd make sure that I didn't notice anything amiss before revealing yourself as my prosecutor once we'd arrived onto the stage.
Oh?
Is that so? Then I suppose I must have missed my final chance. It's fine. It matters not. What's done is done. The stage is already set, so there's no reason to disappoint the audience. Let's see this trial through to the very end.
Kenapa?
Sir Prosecutor, please allow me to pass this along. This is a document that Miss Charlotte applied for and received permission to share with you during the trial. According to her, it should speed up the proceedings.
Say what we
Charlotte
feel.
wanted to give us something? Oh, so she's here too!
masih stroke tadi.
Oh, let Paimon see. Isn't this the exclusive interview that she did with us before? So she's already finished it, huh? Wait, then that means this document is a perfect timeline of everything that's happened ever since we stepped foot in Fontaine. So in other words, we can refer to this, and let's quickly confirm the information in it. Just think of it as a refresher, alright?
You defeated the Hydro Archon in the third The words of someone as if... You defeated the Hydro Archon in the... I didn't think that you'd wind up getting to the bottom of the case either.
The prosecution and the defense are both in position. The trial shall now begin.
Level 8 belum.
Oh, come on,
Level
Nervylette.
iya.
There's no
Level
need to
9.
repeat all the unimportant legalese. Just fast forward to the
Udah
part
bisa
where the
masuk level 9.
prosecution lays on
Kecuali
my
kalau mau
offenses.
ngumpulin buff sih.
As the defendant and the lead actress of this performance, I still haven't even been informed of my supposed guilt in all of this. Of course, it is only natural for humans to struggle to understand the actions of a god. However, you will need more than that to convict me of a crime.
That's true, but my charge here is unrelated to your conduct as an Archon. Instead, I would like to charge you as a fraud who's never been the Archon in the first place.
Wait, what was that? Lady Furina's a fraud?
Anjir.
Hey, I came here thinking that we were going to try the Hydro Archon for forsaking her duty, but did I hear that right? She's not our Archon at all?
Charge accepted. Lady Furina, do you plead guilty to the charge? Lady Furina.
I plead not guilty. How can I be guilty? There is no way that I, Dulcelor, otherwise known as Furina de Fontaine, a member of the Seven and the Regina of all waters, kindreds, peoples, and laws of Fontaine, could be anything other than your true Archon.
Yeah, even though Lady Furina can be rather eccentric, isn't it going too far to doubt her very identity?
Yeah, I've never questioned her identity either. Sure, Lady Furina can be super irresponsible, but what grounds does that prosecutor have to make such a huge claim?
I have cause to believe that common sense will prevail in this case. Many of the members of the audience have known me as the Hydro Archon ever since they were born. There would be no fooling their memory. See, even the Oratrice has decided to show me its favor. Are you sure you want to commit to a charge that will never be upheld? If you wish to drop the case, I can promise you as the god of justice that you will not have to face trial for making a false accusation. We will treat everything that's happened as a dramatic spectacle and move on with our lives. What do you say to that?
An argument with near impossible odds, huh? You have to not only refute Furina's claims, but also overturn the long-held beliefs of the people.
Well, I tried to give you the chance to surrender. If you must persist, then let me ask. If you believe I'm not the Archon, then what manner of being do you think I am? And if I was not the Archon, then how did I manage to live for over 500 years?
So why can't we fall, saying what we want, saying what we feel?
That doesn't sound right.
Oh 9 dulu buat Bang Toriko, siap. Ngikut aja dah, udah.
First of all, you may be a member of another long-lived race, would allow you to naturally possess an extended lifespan. And second of all, even if that wasn't the case, there could be other ways to extend your life.
Who gave you that idea?
Oh,
Was it the
alah.
maze? You'd sink so low as to use a harbinger's words against me.
Oke.
A curse? I once thought it possible that the aura of an Archon might naturally resemble a type of curse. But in light of this claim, perhaps what I sensed was not your divinity, but a curse after all.
You sensed it too, huh, Neverlet?
Yang mana?
Lady Furina is actually a human?
Well, it is true that it's extremely difficult to tell humans and gods apart just by looking at them. It's
Nge-live
not
pakai apa
impossible.
tuh? Lord Nephilim nih.
Well, don't start celebrating too early now. Even if I have been carrying a curse like you said, how does that prove that I am merely a human being?
Ya,
Besides,
buset dah.
everyone knows
Terlalu
that the main
fokus sama
difference
ceritanya
between a
nih.
human and a god is the possession of authority.
Nonton film ini.
Gods can do what humans cannot. That's why they're worshipped as gods. For centuries, manifestations of my authority have served the nation of Fontaine. One need only to turn their eyes towards the oratory's
Nonton film gratis ini guys. Durasi 4 hari guys.
consider the endemnitium that is used in every aspect of life.
Udah, kamu nggak apa-apa. Ada.
That doesn't sound right. You tried to reference the oratories, but weren't you as confused as all the rest of us when the oratories declared child to be guilty without any proof? Otherwise, you should have come up with a good explanation for that by now.
Didn't I make myself clear at the time? The decisions of the gods are naturally difficult for humans to comprehend. There is no need to provide an explanation.
Lady Furina, I believe a reminder of your current circumstances is in order. While the court is in session, the principles of justice and the law must come before all else. While you are an Archon, you are also first and foremost the defendant in this trial. You will prove yourself unable to defend against the prosecution's charges if you continue to withhold vital information against the rules of the court.
I never thought you'd use that kind of rhetoric against me.
That was no trick of rhetoric, Lady Furina. I've merely reiterated the rules of the court. Rules that all should respect and follow.
So, you neither knew why child
OW25 sudah ada belum? Kalau sudah ada, aku ikut.
Instead of having been created by you, the manifestation of authority you mentioned has been made by the real Hydro Archon instead.
The real Hydro Archon. Well, now you're really losing me. It is true that I did not know why the oratories gave out a guilty verdict that day. But the oratories handed out that verdict unilaterally, and it has been operating independently ever since it was first created. You can't argue that just because a divine creation is flawed, that the god behind it must also be no god at all.
Ada musuhnya lagi ya,
All kinds of excuses.
ampun.
Seems like she's confident that we won't be able to produce proof that she has no power over the Oratries.
My power as an Archon.
Gak bakal bisa.
There are many ordinary citizens in the audience. How can I just carelessly demonstrate the formidable power of an Archon?
If that poses a concern, I'm prepared to extend my protection to the audience.
You don't need to go that far.
Jangan lupa heal yourself
Aren't you the
sebelum
Hydro
gelut
Archon?
lagi.
Or
Musuhnya
is it that
berat.
you can't even wield the power of Hydro, much less the authority of a god?
Indemnitium! Yes! It's all because of Indemnitium! All Archons derive their power from the faith of the people, and I've converted the people's faith in justice into Indemnitium! Thus did I give up all of my divine power to provide everyone with energy for their daily lives. Have you ever seen a more magnanimous god?
Isn't that a huge stretch?
Yeah, no matter how generous an Archon can be, how could they give up all their power? Can a god with no power even still be called a god?
Seems like nobody's buying Furina's excuse.
Walau nggak ada efeknya, buset.
Hey, come now, everyone! Please don't stare at me as if I was a liar. I'm still the same Furina you knew, right? The one that you loved. Shouldn't you want to believe in me?
Okay, thank you.
Please, you've got to believe me.
If what the prosecutor said is true, she really has committed a grave offense.
Did she deceive all of us? And all of our parents and grandparents too? And then all of our ancestors? Ever since they were born?
Enough! That's enough. Tell me then, if I'm not the real Hydro Archon, then who is? If you have no evidence of another Hydro Archon's existence, nor can you find anyone who can back up their claim to be such, then what grounds have you to say that I'm not actually the real deal?
Wow, she came up with yet another argument. How can we refute her now? Seems like she really doesn't want to give up.
Gue panggil.
Satu bisa tuh. Haha, yuk. Tidur seperti biasa. Waktu hilang.
Aku relok dulu bilang tadi aku mau relok.
Oh, buset.
Langsung play.
Gak mungkin. Gak ada buff dulu, cari buff dulu. Gak bisa.
Oh, kita dulu aja tuh buang toriku. Terus toriku nyari buff sekalian.
Iya.
9 dulu aja tuh.
Lu udah dapat penembus buff?
Ya dapat. Nyoba. Buffnya jelek-jelek. Sebenarnya semua gitu.
It has been established that all Fontanians can dissolve in water from the primordial sea. And that means...
Since you insist on claiming to be a god and not a human, then
Buset,
there's a
dia
method that
pakai
you can use
tongkat tuh.
right here and now
Buset.
to eliminate all suspicions of you being the latter.
Punya
Miss
sekelan
Navi,
juga dia.
please apply to serve as a temporary attorney for the prosecution before addressing the court. Though you act in partnership with the prosecutor, you must still adhere to proper procedure.
Super sorry, Monsieur Chief Justice. I swear this really will
Buset,
be the last
meninggal
time
kan?
that I'll speak out of turn.
Ya.
Now, I've brought some seawater from Poisson. As everyone knows, a massive flood struck the area not long ago, taking many lives, including those of some of my closest friends.
Lah, Bang Wilan offline.
Miss Furina, would you dare to touch some of the seawater? If we were to believe that you are indeed the real Hydro Archon, touching the seawater would have no effect on you. All it should do is strengthen your case. But if you don't dare to touch it, then we would have basically proved the reverse.
Coba cari buff dulu mulu kayaknya.
And I must remind you that after the disaster at Poisson, nobody wants to see any more people dissolved. I do hope you'll act prudently and choose the simpler path of admitting guilt.
Navia from the Spina di Rasula. The Spina has governed Poisson for many years. I guess her suggestion is valid.
If Lady Furina is indeed just a human, she's probably Fontanian like all the rest of us. Would she really dare to try?
Paling nggak 2 DPS 9 habis itu nyari buff. Ya, Will cari buff DPS Will.
Loh, mana ya aku itu apa DPS?
Lady Furina, this test has been unilaterally proposed by the prosecution. As it falls outside the realm of standard court proceedings, you possess the right to decline participation.
Well, of course he had to tell her that. But refusing to participate is basically the same as a confession of guilt.
She's just staring at the water without saying a single word. It really does seem like she's quite terrified of it. That could only mean...
What's going on? Is she really planning to... That's not what we thought she would...
Due to the inherent risk of the test, Lady Furina, you may.
Hey!
I'm fine! Look at me, everyone! My hand is still here! I haven't been dissolved! Will you believe me now? I really am your Archon! I'm nothing like a normal human who would fall apart as soon as they touch this water! Really? Was this not the most obvious thing in the world?
Miss Siegewing? If you're present, Miss Siegewing, please come forward and attend to the defendant.
Siegewing?
Don't be nervous. It'll just take a few seconds. Let me see. That should be enough.
Please announce the results of your evaluation to the court, Miss Siegewing.
As everyone doubtlessly saw, Miss Furina was displaying symptoms of hyperventilation and flushed skin. These indicate that she was experiencing the adverse effects of exposure to primordial seawater. The extent to which she was affected is the same as other humans when exposed to primordial seawater of a similar concentration.
Thank you, Miss Siegewing. Lady Furina, you may return to the defendant's stand.
Oh, wait. What did she just say? I didn't get dissolved. Shouldn't that be enough to prove my innocence?
Well, considering your tendency to run from your problems, we did originally prepare a direct sample of the seawater around Poisson. However, after extensive discussion, we exchanged it for a sample that is not concentrated enough to dissolve an actual human. After all, on the off chance that something entirely unexpected might occur, we don't want anyone else to lose their life to the sea.
Yeah, so out of regard for Furina's life, you secured a low-concentration sample and asked the head nurse to serve as an expert witness. It's a great thing that the direct sample wasn't actually used. Furina could have...
I can't believe... You...
Kamera berak anjing sama-sama langsung begitu.
Listen to me, everyone. Please don't give me such cold and disdainful looks. What happened just now didn't prove a single thing. Think about it. How can you conclusively prove that an Archon can't also be affected by the primordial seawater? Also, if I was really just a human, why would I dare to just put my hand in that kind of water?
Buset Bang Torik.
Please, everyone, anyone, just listen to me. I really am your Archon.
Let's go, Bang Tori.
Fokus.
Gua tarik semua ke Abela ya, gua tarik semua ke Abela.
Oke.
I don't
Okay,
think
okay.
anything she says at this point will sway anyone. The odds are just too stacked against her now.
Mana Abela ya?
With all the things that have been said,
Ini
Hana doesn't think there's any way left
Yang
for
gede
Furina
ini
to
ya.
win.
yang gede.
I believe the time for arguments and presentation of evidence has come to an end. If there are no objections, we will move on to the final judgment.
Ya pasti gua reload bentar ya.
Wah, buset, tahu-tahu mati.
I don't think anything she says at this point will sway anyone. It's too stacked against her now.
Itu damage
Masih tidak bisa menyerang. Saya nge-lag. Oke.
Cross glass.
itu
Reload dulu guys.
Toriku damage Wilan yang gede banget.
In my capacity as Chief Justice, I shall now render judgment on Furina's misrepresentation of herself as the Archon of Fontaine. As a human who knowingly deceived her fellow citizens, Furina is
Kalau main cross.
guilty.
Change relic bisa gak sih? Coba di set 5. Oke. Yuk, gas.
We shall now turn to the Oratrice Mécanique d'Analyse Cardinal to render the final verdict on the charges.
Habis ini kalau udah dapat semua, kalau Bang Toriknya masih on, Bang Torik bisa share screen nggak? Kami bantu pilihin buffnya.
Apa?
Buff PA. Kalau Bang Torik habis ini masih online, kami bantu pilihin buff PA.
According to the judgment of the Oratrice Mécanique d'Analyse Cardinal,
Boleh.
Furina is...
What's wrong?
Boleh sampai jam 12. Nggak mungkin ya.
No, the Oratrice also displays a guilty verdict.
Isn't that correct then?
However, the exact wording of the verdict is thus. The Hydro Archon, guilty to be punished via the
Aku tinggal
death
satu ini,
sentence.
energi concentration 1.
The death sentence?
That's actually one of the
Bang Cimol,
available
offline Bang Cimol.
sentences. I've always thought
Yeah,
that was
sorry.
just a myth.
The one and only time the death sentence has been handed out at the court. And it's been given to the very person we've worshipped as the god of justice? What an unexpected twist.
Furina's been sentenced to death by the Oratrice?
Bang Nephilim itu juga ini kan
Use the trial to show her the
di
seriousness of things
ini
so she
grup
tells
kita.
the truth.
Toro fantasinya, krunya.
This outcome is indeed quite strange.
Bang Nephilim
According to
lagi
Fontaine's
streaming
current
di
definitions of justice, as well as its recommendations for criminal sentences, is this sentence really appropriate for the crimes that have been committed?
Even Vache wasn't sentenced to death by the
Keluar
Oratrice.
dulu nih kan.
You know, the real evil mastermind behind the serial disappearances case.
Oh, berarti keluar dulu ntar.
Not only is Furina's sentence overly excessive, the very point of our trial today was also to prove that Furina has never been a Hydro Archon in the first place. But now, the Oratrice seems to have deliberately invoked the title of the Hydro Archon. What does this mean?
Excuse me, if I may interrupt.
Why can't we?
Is the trial still going?
Fremine! You finally made it. I assume this means you've completed your mission?
Mm-hmm. Any mission Father assigns to me will always be top priority.
Is that the first prophecy
Kan
slate?
dulu sayang.
Huh. So the knave privately arranged for Fremine to try and find the missing slate.
I looked everywhere and finally found it at the bottom of the sea. It took me a long time to get around some dangerous stretches of water. But has the trial already concluded? Then doesn't that mean I've come too late?
Thank you for your hard work, Mr. Fremine. Please allow me to review the record left on the slate. Traveler, I believe that you have already seen the other existing slates. We'd like you to come here and confirm their contents.
sabar guys.
I believe I now make sense of the Hydro Archon's crime. It has to do with Fontaine's lost history.
Oh ya, safeguard ya, safeguard dulu.
Isn't the Hydro Archon just guilty of deceiving her people? Oh, wait, no, that's Furina. And we've already proven that she's not the
Oh
Hydro
ya, ready. Sorry.
Slow.
So when you say Hydro Archon, do you mean the real Hydro Archon we've been kind of talking about?
In truth, everything that you've encountered in Fontaine up until this point can be traced back to the contents of these stone slates. However, I'm uncertain as to how much sense they currently make to you.
Okay, let's try to recall the contents of the other 3 stone slates. Paima will do her best to help you remember.
Biar nambah damage walaupun
naikin apa?
Mau open dulu. Lumayan kan nambah damage.
Siap.
Siapa tahu ketemu satu sitan yang bagus.
Woi. Buset, satu cakaran ratusan ribu damage-nya. Buset.
It seems to show the previous Hydro Archon using her divine power, and then the Oceanids turned into humans.
Mimi, Lira, udah sama Zero.
Fontanians are transformed Oceanids? Oh, Paima wasn't expecting that. But if Oceanids can turn into humans, then perhaps this process can be reversed as well.
Iya, beneran gua.
The second stone slate shows Celestia
Kira Bang
floating in
Wilan,
the
berapa Bang
sky,
Wilan?
and the Hydro Archon and her people worshipping it together. But
Kedua?
the heavens still
Meninggal ya?
want judgment down upon them.
Chef,
Alhamdulillah. Dapat safeguard
This
gua.
must be the point when the Hydro Archon and the Fontanians were
Masih lagi
branded
kah?
with
Ayo,
their
ayo.
original sin. Does this mean that the original sin and the Hydro Archon sin are the same thing?
Gas sampai dapat.
Damage-nya gede banget itu.
Iya, sorry.
Link wheel.
Link lu.
Digelinding.
Buset, Bang Torik.
Semangat Bang Toriku. Kamu pasti kuat Bang Toriku. Wilan? Masih kecanduan?
Canduan apa lagi canduan?
Ya? Alkohol.
Alkohol, Mbak. Minum yang kayak gitu aja nggak pernah lah seumur hidup.
Lah itu namanya?
Buset, satu kali hantam.
Safeguard lagi. Dari yang nggak hoki, mantap.
Dapat safeguard lagi.
Hilang. Kadang ku tak tenang, ku hanya diam. Aku sayang tapi kau yang tak paham. Yo.
Gas, Wilan, DPS, gantian.
Hah?
Buff lu udah bagus belum, Wil?
Ini tunggu bapku.
Boleh mana tamshi.
Gue nyari shatter
Lembus
sih.
bu. Lembus gua. Energi concentration sama spirit.
Setter gua kuat. Tapi setter ini nih itu nambah damage yang masuk 30%. Enggak kuat kok, Ben.
Oh, jangan. Gak usah.
Emang dia increase setter 100%, tapi damage masuk nambah 30%.
Iya, jangan. Nge-troll itu aja. Kasihan supportnya.
Gas gak nih, Bang Wil?
Bisa dong.
Ntar gue lagi
Gas,
nyari
ayo.
Gue lagi nyari buff dulu yang berguna buat gue. Apalagi sih yang berguna?
Buffku malah time boost 2, icebreaker, sama energy concentration.
Lihat boost di mana?
Itu di pilihan levelnya bang.
Oh.
Kalau yang kanan enaknya gue pakai apa ya? Yang berdamage ya mulai. Yang kanan gak ada yang damage lagi ya?
Aku di level 7 ada semua sih. Di level 8 Pyro Blaze 2, level 9 Frost Blaze 2.
Kalau Bang Toriku itu carinya yang frost aja bang.
Oh, iya bang.
Kelingan kan?
Iya. Ya Linghan. Ya menyesuaikan sih. Anjir. Ada satu yang belum ready, aku udah.
Cimal. Lagi ambil minum kan?
Sorry. Pengen nonton anime.
Oke. Goyang.
Buset. Wah. What? Lah, oh. Linghan nih ultinya biar harimaunya muncul nih gak boleh gerak ya?
Bisa kan sambil gerak dia. Kayaknya bisa sambil gerak deh bang. Itu tuh dia munculnya itu emang waktu kan ya. Waktunya emang agak lama aja muncul macamnya. Energy creation. Oke guys.
Kalau buff yang frost adanya di level 9 sih aku lihatnya.
Frost 2 kan? Frost 3 kan?
Gila.
Iya.
Enak nih main sama Ayame.
Itu Frost Ayame.
Plan boost 3 baru ada di level 11 anjir. Iya bang, coba.
Besok banting gua datang Fer.
Wede.
Akhirnya level mentok semua.
Gokil. Jodville.
Ya Jodville. Dan gue lupa patung mana yang harus di-upgrade.
Tuh kalau Marsfield udah kelar mau ngapain lagi tuh?
Marsfield palingan tinggal nungguin nyari doang. Jadi patung langsung kita upgrade, tapi upgrade aja sekali. Maksudnya udah 4.000 sih di Marsfield kan.
Gue belum JO lagi gue, belum daily anjir. Gue lupa ya.
Dan buat jadi bulat benernya pembatuan. Ambil. Itu alat pembuat combo yang bikin jadi batu. Medusa. Tuh.
Chef juga.
Ular.
Tembus lagi.
Apa Ber?
Hikmah. Sampai Hikmah
sampai dapat. Hah? Enggak. Yang berat 2 atas aja. Juga satu yang mati, Bang. Juga di raging. Ayo Bang Toriko, semangat Bang Toriko. Semangat Bang Toriko, semangat.
Bang Toriko rencana mau ambil apa lagi Bang Toriko?
Hah?
Rencana mau ambil apa lagi?
Di level 9 ambil Frost.
Siap. Habis ini ke Frost. Yang itu ya, level 4. Oke banget tuh, sumpah. Medusa tuh dewa Romawi gitu. Romawi Yunani gitu.
Biasa lah. Kalau
dia ada yang buat.
Kalau main flame tuh pasti gak dikasih flame busnya malah.
Coba aja Ben, santai. Kecil.
Why can't we for once say what we want?
Oh, Bang Torik.
Apa?
Besok kerja nggak Bang?
Sorry, gak denger.
Besok kerja nggak?
Besok main gitu.
Dapat kerja nggak?
Oh iya. Besok kerja. Aku paling main bisa cuman sebentar sih besok. Dari jam berapa ya? Mungkin jam 9, jam 10 gitu.
Ya.
Malam.
Dapat Fer?
Dapat mau.
Oke. 9 lagi ya.
Nah ini tinggal Frost Boost. Aduh.
Udah 2 buff lagi sih yang gue pengen tuh.
Gokil. Damage-nya jauh banget ya. Sama modal flame boost doang anjir. Flame boost 2 padahal. Damage-nya jauh banget bedanya. Masukin mall, semua mall, kata mall. Tarik sih.
Sabar.
I can be.
Yang leader itu nggak mau gerak deh tuh.
Ini ya, gak nyatu ya?
Iya, nggak mau gerak ya. Mana gede? Abela kan? Abela. Mana yang Abela?
Gue langsung ke Abelanya ya, Mas.
Kesini. Abelanya.
Dilempar aing.
Lizardnya kagak mau masuk, jadi damage-nya nggak masuk ke dia.
Nah ini
cabut-cabutan
kata lasku itu.
Biar mati kamu.
Apa kontor ini?
Ya, bukan Frozen. Oh, ini Grievous Tear.
Oh, aku yang dapat proses 2 bang. Proses 3.
Mal, coba keluar bentar deh Mal. Gue mau open beberapa kali mau nyari
Boleh. Yuk, keluar dulu bang.
Biar damage, siapa tahu statikan gue berubah. Nyari normal attack. Kalau dapet normal attack, damage-nya naik pasti.
Aku kayaknya mau berhenti dulu deh. Lanjut besok deh.
Gak apa-apa.
Gimana?
Gak apa-apa.
Sorry ya.
Enggak apa-apa bang.
Gak apa-apa bang.
Oke.
Makasih ya Bang Tori udah main.
Ya, thank you bang.
Makasih.
Thank you.
Yuk, sama-sama. Oke, berarti habis ini bang.
Star, mau cari flame nggak Star? Star tidur deh, udah Star ya? Star
Malam.
Tadi Cece
The
udah
third slate shows the Hydro Archon seeking into the sea surrounded by many people.
lagi sebar.
Gue mau nyoba tembusin.
Paimon, didn't we also watch that happen to someone else?
Biar physical, damage physical.
Well, the first slate is the prophecy the Fontanians have been talking about.
Bocil-bocilnya.
People dissolving into the sea, the Hydro Archon crying on her throne, and
Star,
so on.
support aja Star.
Iya sabar login, sabar.
We didn't believe that such a crazy disaster could happen at first, did we? But after that incident, it was just a question of when and not if.
Nggak berubah statitan gue malah.
Nggak berubah?
Nggak berubah.
Biasa itu.
Gue nyari paling dia tuh skill, anjir jangan dodge attack. Nggak guna, nyari normal attack sih gue sebenernya. Kalau level 4 tuh damage-nya 10%, gede banget. Tenang aja. Juga di tangan malah dapet damage boost, cuma kerasa. Skill damage sih kalau gitu.
We know from the case of the serial disappearances of young women that Fontanians can be dissolved in primordial seawater, and the first stone slate tells us that long ago, the Hydro Archon used her power to turn Oceanids into humans. This might be the reason that Fontanians can dissolve.
That doesn't sound quite... That doesn't...
Perhaps what is about to take place has all happened before. And the true sin of the Hydro Archon that Nervalet mentioned, and the original sin cast down on the people of Fontaine by Celestia, as recorded on the stone slates. The prophecy from the stone slates found its way into society, but not many people believed it at first. The fortress of Meripede was nearly flooded with primordial seawater, which we know can cause Fontanians to dissolve. It seems increasingly likely that the prophecy may come true. If we hadn't dealt with it in time, things could have gone very badly.
Gue belum itu lagi FOG, lu udah FOG mal?
Ntar lah. Kan 300 energinya bro. Ntar malam aja gue.
It's not as simple as falling into the sea. When Navia fell into the sea, her consciousness was subjected to judgment. The stone slates show the people gathered around the Hydro Archon in the sea. Could that be alluding to the same thing?
Gue belum JO hari ini.
JO? Gue juga belum.
They'll dissolve into the primordial sea but won't cease to exist. Their essence will flow in the seawater, converge, and take the form of an oceanid.
Harus support Bang Wilan beres.
The Hydro Archon was sentenced to death in court, shocking everyone present.
Bang Wil.
Perhaps this means that her sin was actually Fontaine's original sin.
Physical boost udah Will, udah dapet Will.
Navia fell into the water inside those ruins, and she nearly dissolved. She was surrounded by the people of Basalt in a court within her consciousness, and was forced to take part in a trial meant to make her stay.
Nge-lag kalau di-OWin.
Sabar apa putra?
The eruption of the primordial sea at the fortress of Meripede was the surest sign that the prophecy was about to come to pass in our life.
Gas. Execute ya, Will. Link.
Execute Bang Wil ya.
The prophecy's contents can all be verified by recent events. If we combine what we know together, loads of truth should come to light.
Alah.
Gila, tebel banget, Adri. Gokil, Tibo. Gak ada DP. Kasih. Crazy tuh. Gila tuh.
Oh, Paimon gets it now. So that's how you can make sense of it. But then it feels like we're going to have to share some truly shocking revelations.
Let's hear
this.
Incredible. Linny, did you hear that?
We're
humans.
All Fontanians were originally created by the late previous Hydro Archon, with oceanids as their basis. The evidence for that can be found in how only Fontanians could dissolve in primordial seawater, and how all the girls Vacher dissolved were also turned into oceanids. Oh, and according to Navia, when she was about to get dissolved, she also saw everyone gathered around for a trial, all of them in the shape of oceanids.
Indeed.
Yeah, and it follows from the content of the first slate that she probably anchored Celestia by creating humans without prior permission. That could also explain why the Oratories judged the Hydro Archon to be guilty. It's to account for that ancient sin.
The Hydro Archon's true sin was creating us.
And yet, after many hundreds of years, the Hydro Archon's creations have turned around to try to judge the Archon within the Opera Epiclese.
Yeah, isn't the image here just like when Navia fell into the sea? So wouldn't it be trying to show the image of the Hydro Archon also falling into the sea once the prophecy has been fulfilled in the fourth slate? In the end, the people will all be dissolved into the waters, and only the Hydro Archon will remain weeping on her throne. Only then will the sins of the people of Fontaine be washed away. Did Paimon get all that right?
You've made some keen deductions. I must say, given how much you still don't know, it is impressive that you've already managed to connect so many pieces of the truth. However, while you were able to decode all the information on the slates, they've also been etched with an additional layer of hidden information using a different power source. When we were at the ruins, I tried to decipher the hidden information recorded in the slates. But since we only had 3 slates at the time, I was unable to come to a full conclusion. Now that the slate collection is complete, I shall make another attempt to decipher the narrative recorded within. If everything goes well, we should finally be informed of the unadulterated truth.
Waduh, slip lagi gua. Bring back
Gue jatuhin.
Masalahnya kalau gua pakai Furina itu gua bakal nggak ada
Did you get it?
I believe I should share this truth not only with you, but with all the people of Fontaine as well. I will try to briefly summarize it for you.
Awas.
Your hypotheses regarding the origin of Fontainians and the sin of the Hydro Archon were both correct. In the Fontaine of old, the previous Hydro Archon seized the yearning of her Oceanian familiars for rightful land. The Oceanids were enamored with the beauty and romanticism of human beings, wishing to have those experiences for themselves, expressed to the Hydro Archon their desire to become of a similar kind. However, even though water as an element is intricately linked with the power of life, the Hydro Archon, as one of the seven, did not possess the authority to create a new form of human life. Not one to give in, she eventually found a way to create permanent humanoid bodies for her familiars by appropriating the power of this planet's primordial sea. She poured primordial seawater into the Oceanid's blood vessels, creating humanoid mimics in the process. But if Fontainians were to ever come into direct contact with water from the primordial sea, the power within their bodies would escape these artificial restraints and return to the sea. As a result, their forms would collapse, and they would be reverted to their original forms as Oceanids. Of course, the Hydro Archon never received permission from the heavenly principles to create a new human race. And thus, the Hydro Archon and all of her creations came to shoulder the original sin of appropriating the power of the primordial sea. That is the true history of how the people of Fontaine first came into being.
We were all Oceanids before we turned into human beings?
That's way too much information for me. I think I'm just going to pretend that I never heard a single thing. Wait, but if that's the truth, we can't let the Hydro Archon be sentenced to death. After all, her only sin was creating us.
This really might be too much information for your regular Fontainian, but it does answer a lot of our questions.
Alas, your hypothesis regarding the third and fourth stone slates was inaccurate. The slates' respective positions are, in fact, a key point of the visual on the third slate is how all the individuals depicted in the water are humans rather than Oceanids. They have not been dissolved, which implies that the water depicted in this slate is not water from the primordial sea. The nation of Fontaine is the nation of Hydra, as well as the nation of trials and justice. Instead of being the literal element, the water in the scene symbolizes judgment and justice. You may also recall Navia's experience. When she fell into the sea, her consciousness was surrounded by that of many others who intended to hold a trial to determine her fate. Therefore, the meaning of the third slate is that the people of Fontaine shall try the Hydro Archon at the court of justice. Yes, it refers to our present situation.
I think I'm following now. So, what you're saying is, even though we decided to put on this trial to avoid fulfilling the prophecy, in truth, everything we've done has happened exactly as the prophecy foretold. So now, it seems, we're the ones making sure it comes true.
What should we do?
Huh. No matter what, the prophecy will be fulfilled. Is this what it feels like to be a prisoner of fate?
If that's the case, does that mean the scene in the fourth slate will also be fulfilled soon?
Traveler, I would like to point out another small fallacy in your deductions. About the fourth slate, you probably thought that the eruption of primordial seawater beneath the fortress of Meripede served as the surest sign that the prophecy was about to come to pass, yes? However, I believe that rather than being a sure sign, that eruption could in fact only be a small warning of something far worse to come. As for the root cause of the catastrophe, I believe you've already encountered it once before. This eruption is just a small warning of the things to come. We must find the root cause of the disaster.
Bukan. Saya coba gue cari dulu dah. Yang mana ya? Aduh, ketutup semua lagi. Ada tuh di bawah kanan kayaknya deh. Bawah kanan kayaknya.
Udah, belum?
It was both dream
Si Wiran belum nyari
and reality.
Belum dapat.
If we're talking about a true culprit, that could only be that thing inside the primordial sea, right?
The truth, the original sin, the trial, and the root cause of the
Akhirnya hadiah kon. Ya, coba. Ya. Dulu.
Kalau kita coba full DPS satu tank,
Gak tau dah. Tapi damage gue enggak dong.
Digital level 6.
Apa?
Digital juga.
6 ya?
kita main ini aja banget ya. Main ini lebih tinggi.
Jadi kita level 6 ya. Habis kita terkait.
Bisa cari frame
Gak apa-apa ini dibuang bulan dulu aja gak apa-apa.
Ya ntar. Ntar kita coba
Sama aku Columbus 2 ya.
All in DPS. Kita coba. Bodoh amat mati. Tebel banget anjir bocah bener. Gokil. Mana sih? Oh ini.
That was way too close! How did that thing just burst into the opera house? Wait, was that the huge whale you saw in your dream?
So we've met it at last. I understand very well why it has chosen to make an appearance here. That whale does not belong to Tevat. It is a monster that has traversed the stars, weeping all the while. It has been greedily consuming the energy from the planet's primordial sea, using it to grow. That is the main cause for the rising sea levels. And once it has finished consuming all of the energy contained within the sea, its next step will be...
You said that when the Hydro Archon first created Fontanians out of Oceanids, she filled their blood vessels with primordial seawater.
Precisely. That whale finds the blood of Fontanians nigh impossible to resist. Therefore, when it left the primordial sea, it decided to make its next stop a packed opera house full of food. Food in the form of Fontanians.
We just barely managed to push it back, right? In that case, won't it come back to target the people again once it's managed to recover its strength?
That is correct. Indeed, it is more accurate to say that we should thank that harbinger for buying us some time. Without him, the whale would have likely come onto land far sooner. From the way he looked, he must have been fighting the creature for quite a long time.
That battle maniac. We've always known that he had a special connection with that whale, but we definitely didn't expect it to help us out like this. Anyway, now that we know that this whale is the actual cause of the disaster recorded in the prophecy, all we need to do to stop the prophecy would be to find a way to beat it up, right?
It is too late. It had already absorbed too much of the primordial sea's energy before we could notice it. At this point, it has become practically integrated with the sea itself. Even if the entirety of Tevat were to be destroyed, it could still survive and swim off towards some other world.
That's not something I will accept. We've already done everything we can, and we even found the true culprit. We've come so far. You can't just tell me that the last hurdle is some impossible foe. That's just not fair.
Indeed. That's not how a grand performance should end.
I'll fight it to the end, no matter what.
So the prophecy will be fulfilled no matter what, huh?
The prophecy. Yes, what has been prophesied will be fulfilled. You may view such things as the history of the future.
Iya, berat lagi.
Just as prophecies are usual.
5 lagi.
Ultimately, fate shall serve as your only guide, no matter what will happen in Tevat's future.
Bulan.
Udah.
Sorry. Udah main rokok, bro.
Oh ini. Lu udah nggak ngepip lagi mal?
Nyambi.
Pakai liquid apa lu mal? Sekarang mal?
Pom.
Boleh mati.
What's happening with the oratories?
I believe it is preparing to carry out the death sentence.
Iya, pos pula itu.
Furina!
No, I still need answers.
Suara lu udah kedengeran.
Cepet, guys. Damage.
Damage siapa? Bisa aja.
Wifi-nya yang nge-lag tuh.
Iya, berat lagi.
Sorry. That shocked expression on your face is just too amusing. I couldn't help myself.
You are not Furina. Who are you?
The sweet sound of bewilderment. Marvelous. A sure sign that my attempt to deceive everyone was a resounding success. But to answer your question, I am Focalor. You know, the god.
Focalor? Why did you deceive us?
Oh, that wasn't my goal, of course. Goodness, no. But I had to fool everyone else too, if I was to stand any chance of deceiving the heavenly principles.
Deceiving the heavenly principles?
It's all because of that pernicious prophecy. Dreadful, wasn't it? Everyone doomed to dissolve. Fontaine condemned to be flooded. One was not amused. In fact, one was positively bemused when that problem was thrust upon me by my dearest predecessor. That's the former Hydro Archon Egeria for the uninitiated. It hardly gets more disastrous than a preordained national catastrophe, now does it? She knew full well that the prophecy would surely come to pass. And as one of the seven, she also knew full well that one defies the heavenly principles at one's peril. So yes, as you have no doubt surmised, it was a rather impossible situation that I found myself in. I spent a terribly long time mulling it over, alone on the ocean floor. And I was almost growing barnacles by the time I finally realized there was only one possible solution to this confounding conundrum. I had to outwit the heavenly principles, allow the prophecy to be fulfilled, ostensibly at least, while saving everyone at the same time. I'm a genius, I know. I can only assume that's why Egeria chose me as her successor. Although, looking back now, it was hardly the inheritance one dreams of. Between the task of saving the nation, the quotidian duties of the Hydro Archon, and not to mention the original sin of creating a new race of humans, I dare say she left me quite a colossal mess to clean up. But one can only play the hand one is dealt. I did not choose this, any more than I chose to be one of her Oceanid familiars.
So you were also once one of the Oceanids, transformed into a human by Egeria's hand.
Yes, I was. I always dreamed of becoming human. And I still do, even now. In my eyes, to be human is to be part of the greatest opera ever known. After becoming a god, I separated my divinity from my body and spirit, leaving behind only a self that was as naive and bewildered as my past self on her first day as a human being. The me you see before you now is that divinity, and the human counterpart I left behind, I named Furina. She could feel joy, sorrow, and everything in between. She could be as vain and conceited, or as meek and vulnerable as she wished. Her strengths were of a kind only a human could possess, as were her shortcomings. But in my eyes, Furina's humanity was what made her perfect. She was perfectly human in every way, the person I always wanted to be. Anyway, so then I cursed her. All part of the plan, of course. The plan to deceive the heavenly principles. Do you still remember the final scene of the prophecy? The Hydra Archon alone, weeping on her throne. In order that the prophecy might appear fulfilled, I invited Furina to be an actress, to play the part of the Hydro Archon in the prophecy. Under the curse I placed on her, so long as I, Focalor's divinity, continued to exist, she could not die. But nor was she free to live her life in the pursuit of happiness. Instead, she was forced to take the stage in the opera house, to embrace the role of leading lady, to forever play the part of the god from the prophecy, all to create a deceitful appearance of that prophecy coming to pass. I suppose now you probably understand why your court is called the Opera Epiclese.
But Furina is only human, isn't she? Even though she has had a long life, her mind is no stronger than that of any other ordinary human being. I cannot begin to fathom what she has had to endure. It must have been torture for her.
It has indeed. And although she is, in a sense, me in human form, I most definitely owe her an apology for it.
Yeah.
It's been 500 years, and all along, she's been playing her part in the most unimaginably long, unbearably lonely, and agonizingly painful opera of all time.
berapa damage dia anjir.
Iya, anjing.
Gimana kalau kita yang flame dulu?
Oh,
Coba yang
who
9.
permitted you to come onto the stage? Now, I understand your admiration for my august self, but I must ask you to keep to the rules. All right. It is not my intent to reprimand you. There is no need to state your name. Just be off with you. Do not distract. Oh, do not jest. Can you not feel it? I am Focalor. The eyes of countless Fontanians are upon me. I must at all times display the utmost elegance and nobility.
Panggilan damage-nya nggak ada.
Nggak ada bang, aku dari tadi yang bilang liritnya.
Itu link beta 9.
Iya, karena aku masih ke zero nih.
Lu mau ketemu zero?
Iya. Tadi kan support.
Kan sejarah.
Dear audience, the performance is experiencing a technical difficulty, but worry not. The guards shall resolve it soon enough.
Energy concentration.
Ini flame boss 2. Keluar dulu ya.
You can't run. Judgment. Hey, what gives? The audience is still watching me, you know. Guards? Wait, where are the guards? Guards!
Bentar ya, gue kamera di bentar. Bentar dong.
Lagi O dulu.
Furina.
Who's that? Who's calling me? Where are you?
Be not nervous. Be not afraid. I am before you.
Wait a moment. You're near me? How can this be?
Mirror you, huh? You know what? That's not bad. Let's go with that.
Mirror me. What do you wish to say?
The prophecy. Have you heard of it?
What prophecy? Oh, wait. I know. I think. I don't know why, but it's in my head somehow. The people will all be dissolved into the waters, and only the Hydro Archon will remain, weeping on her throne. Only then will the sins of the people of Fontaine be washed away.
Oh, very good. You know it well.
What's going on? I can't seem to remember anything clearly. The only thing I know for sure is this prophecy. Will it really come to pass?
Yes, it will. And that is why I've come to you. Disaster will come to Fontaine sooner or later. Things will develop just as the prophecy declared. There is no escaping it.
But doesn't that mean everyone will die? I'm a Fontainian just like them. Will I dissolve too?
Oh, don't worry. Magical meetings exist in this world precisely to give people a chance to turn things around. It is the reason why you met me today. I will tell you how to save everyone, but you may have to suffer somewhat.
Oh, so there's still hope after all. Goodness, you frightened me.
Yeah.
You spoke so much and with so much certainty. As for the suffering, well, I will admit that the first thing that came to mind was, why do I have to be the one to suffer? But if the prophecy will come true, I'll also die anyway, right? So if I've already met you as my magical meeting in this world, if there were scales, with all the people of Fontaine on one side and my pain on the other, is it not obvious where the scales should tilt?
You truly are the perfect human, my ideal. I suppose this would also be the justice that belongs to you.
Huh?
Don't worry, it's nothing. Listen well. Fontaine has just lost its Hydro Archon. I need you to play a role, that of the new Archon.
Play as a god?
That's right. You must begin a never-ending masquerade. You must never let anyone suspect your identity. If you can keep it up, then I shall have my way of defying this prophecy. But should your identity be revealed, then all hope will be lost.
But how will I do this? A human assuming the role of a god without being exposed.
Don't worry. What you must do is not to turn yourself into a real god. You simply need to play the role of a god as humans imagine them to be. Being a human yourself, I'm sure you already know what such an entity would be like. Remember, your true challenge will not be pursuing divinity, but contending against humanity.
I'm still not sure I understand, but I'll try. I'll try to do this. So, how long am I going to have to play this role?
To accomplish this mission, you will have to stay on the stage for many, many years. You will endure and not grow old until your task ends. But I promise you, all will eventually end in a magnificent and dramatic trial, and everyone will be saved.
A trial, huh? How exciting.
Gua klaim dulu hadiah JO-nya.
I'll be looking forward to it.
Hai?
Ya besar kurang apa lagi sih Jim? Masih kurang dua-duanya ya?
Dua.
78 kan berarti kita.
The Maison Cardinalise has announced my accession. but this is my first time facing the people. What should I say to most appear like a god? To be honest, I still don't know. Perhaps ladies and gentlemen, good evening, and welcome to the Opera Epiclese. I'm sure you've all heard about how I have taken on the role of Hydro Archon. Indeed, I am Furina de Fontaine, your new Archon. In truth, I know little about becoming a nation's new god, but it will be my honor to guide you all. As the god Fosalor, the god of justice, I shall do all within my power to lead you into an age of... Once again, thank you all for coming. If you should have any... This should do it. I thought I might stammer, but thankfully, I was able to convey my thoughts just fine.
That's the new Hydro Archon. Is this some kind of joke by the Maison? I would have thought that a being that surpasses humanity would be a bit more assertive.
Hey, did you hear that? She even told us to send her suggestions there at the end.
Shouldn't gods be all-powerful? She's being so modest. What's the difference between her and an ordinary person, then?
If you ask me, perhaps the succession didn't actually happen. She might just be a Maison-backed puppet.
Wait, what's going on? Why is everyone suspecting me of being a fake? This is bad. If I get exposed here, there'll be no saving the people from the prophecy. Right. Mirmi said that I just need to play the role of a god as humans imagine them to be. Calm down, Furina. Think. What do the people want? How would they imagine a god to speak and act? Assertive, with a strong sense of presence. One who can dispel all doubt. That is the character I'm fated to play. Oh, very good, my people. Only ones such as you are deserving of my rule. Now, I was wondering if some weak puppet were to one day come onto the stage and claim ownership of this opera house, would the children of Fontaine follow them? Well, it seems that you would all see right through them. Having passed my test, you are qualified to witness wondrous trials alongside my august self, here in this opera house. You may consider my previous act a door gift of sorts. I thought it was a debut that suited the atmosphere. Now then, let us be reintroduced.
So that was just a performance. How could I have forgotten that we were inside an opera house?
Quite shocking, to be honest, but I suppose it's a better look than before. Such a fascinating and bold deity. How wonderful! Our future may yet be bright after all.
It seems I've turned them around. Best follow this flow and restart my accession speech. My dear people, whether you acknowledge me or not, whether you trust me or nay, I say to you, keep faith in your ardor for justice. We have heard it said that this nation's sins can no longer be washed away. Well, I say that no, this won't work. They'll suspect me again. I must play the role that they want me to play. No, this won't work. They'll suspect me again. I must play the role that they want me to play. The scales of justice should not weigh heavy in the hands of its god. On one side, it must carry fairness and justice. And on the other, praise and applause. May law be the prayer on our lips. May judgment be our worship. Let us light the fires and drink to the future of Fontaine. There is no trouble in this world that justice cannot solve. All that is needed is for you, my people, to believe in it, heart and soul. So long as I, the Archon Focalor, stand within the Opera Epiclese, so long as I stand before the Oratrice, I shall even judge the gods of this world!
Ini yang kayak gini ya.
Oh, cậu gua harusnya lah anjing.
Apa tadi yang gue?
Nggak bisa lagi kan. Biasa.
Lady Furina, here are today's case reports as well as a summary of the follow-up for your perusal.
Come now, was I not just at the Opera House in person? Leave these kinds of things to Neverlet. Besides, none of these trials were the one that I'm looking forward to the most.
If I may be so impertinent, what kind of trial are you truly looking forward to?
A magnificent, dramatic, and wondrous trial. A trial to end all things. How could you hope to understand?
That's true. I fear I lack the ability to grasp your divine thought, Lady Archon.
No need for fright, and do not take what I said before too seriously. Go now, do your duties. The trial I await. It will come one day.
Bisa gitu ya?
Aduh, sabar. Biar ada isinya apa nih.
Lady Furina, I don't know what to say. Thank you for agreeing to see me.
No need to thank me. Or rather, thank your own sense of perseverance instead. Long have you stood in line to meet me, have you not? I'm afraid that's just an inevitable consequence of my divine charm. All right, Deuteria is it? How is your son's illness?
You remembered me, and you knew of my family too. He is doing much better now. In fact, he is far more of an ardent believer than I. He was the one who forced me to seek an audience with you, and to bring your words back to him.
Oh, good. Very good. If this should happen again in the future, please do not hesitate to come and tell me. Going down to citizens' homes every so often, while not usual practice, should serve as a fine change of pace.
You're such a gentle and wise God. Thank you once again, on behalf of my son.
Nggak dapet lagi ya.
Piroble sama tuh.
Ya udah keluar dulu aja bisa. Blok aja.
Iya. Tatan gulang. Dari gua.
Lady Furina, here are the latest hydrological reports. As for the specific parameters you asked to take note of, I'm afraid things still don't look good.
I see. It's as I thought then. As your god, I did already expect this, but I wanted to see how far your human wisdom would allow you to analyze it. All manner of signs indicate that the prophecy will still come to pass. Forget it. That's not something you need to worry about right now.
Well, as I understand it, the Fontaine Research Institute is also trying to find a way to counter the rising water levels.
Really? Have they found anything?
I'm afraid that they haven't found any effective solution thus far.
Is that so? Well, no wonder. This issue has reached the realm of the gods after all. Still, their spirit is praiseworthy. The day is finally over. haven't had a moment to breathe this whole time. But it's good to see that everything's getting on track. There are no longer any voices of suspicion.
Udah kepake, hari ini gak ada WP kok.
I just need to keep going. And everyone will be safe.
Poin lucu gue guys ya.
Don't think too hard about this. You need rest. Tomorrow's a new
lagi. Terus kita selalu dong.
Masa gue yang beli sih, Will?
Hah?
Lu lah yang beliin buat gue.
Lady Furina, here are the new trial reports for the latest cases, as well as a summary of the following.
There'll be no need for that. I've seen them already. There's no need to go back over scenes I've witnessed in person before.
Lady Furina, I've waited so long for this chance to see you in this manner.
Indeed, my dear, loyal citizen. This joyous moment is an honor for us both.
Lady Furina, we're detecting significant hydrological anomalies near Poisson.
Understood. Keep monitoring.
Yes.
Keep me informed should anything come up at the Institute. I don't think I let anything slip today. I must show the people that there is nothing to worry about. I just don't know when these days will end. I feel utterly exhausted. Best to rest early today, too.
Dibatukan ke pulau. Enggak, langsung habis episode-nya. Episode-nya berakhir pas semuanya masuk ke kapal.
Lady Furina, it's like a dream being able to speak with you up close like this. I've heard that the first member of our family who was honored to receive an audience with you was Madame Dioteria, almost 20 generations ago.
And what a fine family yours is indeed. It brings me great joy to meet such a faithful believer, a descendant of a line most ardent.
Surely you exaggerate, Lady Furina. My lady?
What is it, good citizen?
Are you crying?
Really now? I didn't even notice. This must be the overflow of hydro from my person. Well, can't quite help being the god whose dominion is the waters, can I?
No wonder. A manifestation of your power, then. Oh, Archon, I am honored to have witnessed it. Honored indeed.
So interminable. So lonely. Just how much longer? Hundreds of years must have passed by now. Perhaps the show must go on for hundreds more. I never imagined that it would hurt so much. Have I reached my limit? No. Perhaps I reached it long ago. Today I didn't even notice my own tears. I want to tell someone, anyone, about this. But would that not destroy all I've done so far? I've conducted so many investigations across the centuries.
There's not even a sliver of hope that we might break the prophecy.
Belum.
All I can do is keep heart. I must maintain this act. It is the only way to save Fontaine. Please, mirror me. You have to succeed.
Nggak time salah kan.
Furina, you don't have to shoulder this burden alone. Although I don't know what you might be keeping from everyone. Your people are more than willing to share your burden with you.
Share my burden. That's impossible. It was fated right from the start that this would be my duty alone.
But even if your burden doesn't need to be shared, you can still choose to confide in someone. Just share it with me. I'm what you'd call a witness.
A witness? Yes. I've heard that you came to Tevat from beyond the stars, yes. In other words, you never belonged here. And if Tevat is, in its entirety, a show on a stage, then you're just a spectator, aren't you? If that's the case... He's right. I could confide in him, couldn't I? But if things don't play out as expected, the people of Fontaine will be the ones to pay the price. No, Furina, you shouldn't be selfish. But what if it's really alright? Furina, you've worked so hard for so long. Surely it would be okay to put yourself first for once. Just this once. Is it such an outrageous thing to do anyway? To find someone in whom you can confide your frustrations and sorrows? Surely it could not hurt. If you let this opportunity slip through your fingers, it might never come by again. Think about it long and hard. No, I have nothing to say. I am Furina, the Archon of Fontaine. Everything will surely get better. All you need to do, dear spectator, is to witness my performance until the curtains fall.
Fine.
So even Furina doesn't know the truth? You've never once let her in on the full plan?
Yes, it had to be done. To deceive the heavenly principles, you must first deceive yourself. She did very well. If she had let her resolve falter even once in these 5 centuries, Fontaine would have been doomed to the most tragic fate. It seems that trusting humanity was the right decision after all.
I believe that I understand how your deception works. But that is only half the truth, is it not? How would you build on this foundation to save the people of Fontaine? That is the most important thing.
Ah, good. Of course, the Udex of Fontaine has pinpointed the crux of the issue. I'm sure you've long sensed that the Oratrice is no simple machine. yes?
I've always suspected that it had its own consciousness. And Lenny did mention that he heard a human voice within the core chamber. It now seems that that person was you, hidden within the machine all along. Am I right?
And then I became one with the oratories, taking Fontaine's gnosis with me. Yes, it would seem so, wouldn't it? Alas, your understanding of this device still lacks sufficient depth. In truth, it is no enactor of justice. It is, in fact, a device created to kill the god of justice.
Beg your pardon?
Oh, you have it. And to be more precise, not only will the oratories take down the god of justice, it will also take down the divine throne upon which she has been placed. I mean, did you think I would be the sort to enjoy peaceful repose while Furina suffered? My work over these last 500 years has been to constantly accumulate individuum within the oratories. But really, some have already discovered that only a small fraction of the energy generated by the device was ever used to provide power to Fontaine. The vast majority had to be accumulated to enact this death sentence.
It was all part of your plan, both the trial and the sentence.
Indeed. This power, accrued over 5 centuries, could have sustained Fontainians for millennia had it only been used for that purpose. Almost all of it has now been stored within the oratories. But only power of this magnitude could hope to destroy the Hydro Archon's divine throne, shaking the rules established by Celestia and breaking through the institution that is the Seven.
So the oratrice's call for death was for neither Furina nor Focalor, but for the Hydro Archon. The destruction of the divine throne. If I do not misunderstand your intent, you must be.
Returning what's rightfully yours to you, of course. In other words, this was all done to return the authority of the Hydro Archon to the Hydro Dragon of this planet.
Anjing, tapi damage lumayan sih, kerasa sih, cepet.
No, what? Getting sad again, are we? The authority of the ancient dragons shall soon be yours once more, O Hydro Dragon Sovereign. And this is the face you make.
All you've done throughout the years is just so you can sacrifice yourself at the very end.
I've never quite seen it that way, you know. Even now, I'm quite pleased at how well my deception worked. Hydro Dragon, don't cry.
Nanti gasingnya tuh gasing eksekutif itu.
Iya itu eksekutif.
I must say, had it been within my rights, I would have loved to judge the heavenly principles themselves. Were they not guilty of essentially the same crime? Egeria stole the power of the primordial sea, and the heavenly principles stole the power you ancient dragons possessed. I, for my part, am the god of justice. And is it not just that your original powers should be returned to you? Speaking of justice, I have always believed that justice lies in the process of pursuing human existence itself. So, if the theft of the primordial sea's might was Fontaine's original sin, then, leaving matters of procedural right and wrong aside, the descent of the Fontainians as humans and their right to exist in this world would be Fontaine's original justice. In other words, existence was Egeria's justice, and to me, Justice is the continuation of that existence, defying the prophecy and ensuring that Fontaine's people shall live on. That should be the justice enthroned over all others. At this point, we, whether it be myself or all other Fontanians, have shouldered the burden of this sin for far too long. Udex Neuvillette, the highest judge in our land, when you regain your full power as an elemental sovereign, what verdict shall you pass upon us?
So when I was invited to the court of Fontaine to serve as Udex, I see now that that was your idea too. I now understand the true purpose behind this position. In the beginning, I was uninterested in human existence. But these 5 centuries of living alongside them have gradually brought about mutual understanding between us. And I have even attempted to feed my slave. You are a devious one, Fusaro. Things being as they are, surely you know that I could never declare them to be guilty.
Lira, Zeke, Mimi, udah itu bener.
Jadi balance setnya. Kalau mau attack, kalau mau konstelasinya attack ya pakai Claudia.
The hour of my execution is almost here. For the sinner, the curtain call has come.
Ya biar ulti
I
terus gitu
know I may
pakai
not sound it,
Lira
but faced with death, I find myself a little afraid. Perhaps this is one thing both gods and humans have in common.
Ya Guren itu Claudia.
Farewell, Neuvillette.
Coba ganti Bang Wil.
I hope you've enjoyed the party for these 500 years.
Apakah tim Hore bisa lulus ujian? Kita lihat.
Win. Sabar. Itu di rokok biar semangat. Itu kenal tadi tuh. Udah tadi itu kenal. Hah? Tak kenal? Banyak kenal ya?
Execute mana kalau execute?
Tuh. Mana gue harap lagi? Ada teman saya.
Heal guys.
Gak ada mall.
Nggak ada healer kah?
Gak ada. Gue coba full DPS dulu.
Apa lagi?
Tidur. 3-3.
I, Udex Neuvillette, hereby declare, people of Fontaine, your sins are forgiven.
Coba aja.
Lagi gue mati lagi permanen nih gue. Udah.
Tadi gue solo DPS sih bisa sih kali 3. Tembus kali 3 kan tadi gue solo DPS ya.
Iya, tembus.
What just happened? Has the death sentence been carried out?
Was that bright light some sort of misdirection? I have a feeling that something huge just happened.
But since we're all still alive and haven't been dissolved, I assume whatever happened was good for us.
It's time to end this. We must mete out punishment to that beast.
Didn't you say just a moment ago that it can't be defeated?
I have gained the strength sufficient to deal with it. Through certain means, I now have the ability to separate the power of the primordial sea from that creature. We should seize the opportunity to pursue our quarry. Traveler, now that the oratories can no longer function, I require an executor to help me mete out justice.
Bangsat partikelnya ganggu anjing.
The root of the calamities befalling Fontaine, the beast that enacts the prophecy. Its name is the all-devouring narwhal. Come with me, traveler. The hour of execution has come.
Ya tidur Mol. Tidurkan dia Mol. Tidurkan dia Mol. Tidurkan dia Mol.
Tidur men. On gagal tidur dia bangsat. Sabar.
But how are we going to do that?
Makan makanan pijikan.
Considering the size of the beast, I cannot reach the power source. Unless we can find a way to attack it from within. I shall share a part of the ancient dragon's power with you. I can feel its sorrow turning into hostility.
Sama aku dua sama Bang Ica, lu sama Bang Ica. Karena bandingnya begini. Dua sama Bang Ica, lu bisa lu. Sama Bang Ica.
You can't run! My apologies!
Ya, kalau misal ngumpul di PS ya sama Bang Ica.
Bilang permanen nggak?
The all-devouring narwhal cannot resist its instinct to devour. Continue to trigger its hostility. Chance will present it.
Darah gua setengah lagi, Ben.
Ini 10 detik Mol. Itu gampang aja udah. Kalau di link bisa nggak ya?
Enggak. Tetap nggak bisa, Jok.
Di-link, lu di-link.
Semua yang nge-link masing-masing.
Linknya pakai LNG.
Ini progresnya pas. Coba ya.
I have granted you my protection. Seize the moment and use my power to suppress its root from within.
Gue dekat jempol lo.
Bil, kita nyari partian dulu, kita kalau udah lewat baru kita itu kan. Yang penting kita bisa nyari partian. Kita cari partian.
Thanks for helping with the cleanup. It should have been my job, but oh well. It was just supposed to be a short private training session for me. I didn't think that my disciple and my master's pet would start brawling in the meantime. Well, actually, I had a feeling that it would happen at some point, but they bumped into one another.
That power.
Bisa.
Who are you exactly?
Hyman has an idea. From what she said earlier, she must be Child's master.
Ayamnya kan baru 165.
Right? It's just that he gave us the impression that she was the less talkative person.
I simply did not have anything to say to the weak. But you, on the other hand, managed to defeat the all-devouring narwhal without using power from beyond this world. So you may speak to me as equals. I have to agree. It's a strange use of a planet's primordial waters just to raise an all-devouring narwhal. That kind of power is wasted on it. It's not cooperative. It eats too much. And I have more important things to do with my time than pet sitting. The only thing that creature has going for it is its looks. All in all, it fails as a pet.
Aman itu. Sampai gue lawan Eva cuma diem doang gitu.
The point being...
Rencana gue gitu baru resikonya sampai gue lawan Eva
almost destroyed an entire nation.
Enak sih main.
So what sort of person is your master? Well, Child's master's master. Wait, is that right?
Oh, right. So you don't know him. Sorry, I assumed you did. His name is Sertologi.
Mama lagi bro, referee.
I am unfamiliar with that name.
Huh. So Master isn't sufficiently famous. How should I describe him then? Have you heard of the name The Fowl?
The Fowl?
Still nothing? Well, how about the Visionary? Vetterfalnir then? Or Gold Rhine-Daughter?
Ooh, that one we've heard! Rhine-Daughter's part of the Hexen.
Idul Fitri tahun depan.
So you do know that name. To be honest, I also heard all of those names and titles from my master. I don't actually know them all. But I suppose you understand now, yes? My master is likely a similar sort to Rhine-Daughter. They are both pursuing some form of perfection.
Wait, didn't you also mention a visionary person? Hyman didn't quite catch their name.
Actually, never mind that. I believe it expedient to inform you that the all-devouring narwhal used up nearly all its strength fighting you. Such roiling hydro energies will prove difficult for the planet's deep seas to digest. As such, the fontaine back on the surface has most likely been thrown into chaos. In other words, the prophecy that you've been fretting over should now be in full swing.
What?
Siapa tahu ada itu kan kayak paket Saki kemarin, Saki gratis tuh, ya bukan Saki gratis, Saki bayar 50.000 tuh. Oh, siapa tahu ada itu lagi kan?
Not to worry. Focalor has already managed to deceive the heavenly principles.
Matrixnya final damage.
Gak bagus.
In the end, the people will all be dissolved into the waters, and only Furina will remain, weeping on her throne.
Terus lah. Terus kapan tinggal naikin bintang doang.
Matrix apa sih yang buat
Only then will the sins of the people of Fontaine be washed away.
Mau ada setek, kurang.
Yang bagus apa sih buat tank?
Ya itu, setter kan. Yang naikin defense mana ada?
Oh nggak ada ya?
Nggak ada, setahu gua nggak ada.
Naikin damage gitu dong.
Iya nggak ada yang naikin resistance.
Modal apa? Di skill AOE lah udah cukup.
Oh kalian suruh gila biar setternya kencang, langsung pecah kan misalnya.
Di DPS aja.
Matrix mini-nya kepake masalahnya ntar, bayar.
Initiate emergency rescue.
Emang dia ngaruh ke bumi juga?
Hurry! Hey, lend a
Gua
hand.
eksperimen ya. Apakah CS-nya turun? Kata gue turun sih.
Emang terus Sila Zero lu berapa?
Ada yang ading. Menurut gue turun deh. Coba dulu lah ya. Mix.
Tak apa-apa sih yang
Oh, salah pencet.
Look, the water's receding. It's a miracle.
Water's receding.
We didn't dissolve. The prophecy was wrong. The prophecy was wrong.
Oh, pas. CS-nya pas. Nggak turun.
Are you alright?
Kayak gini aja, Ber.
We're safe.
Halo, tes.
Prophecy.
Oh ya, gue tuh lagi sama waktu banget, nggak tahu ngapain.
Alhamdulillah sih CS-nya nggak turun. Emang saya turun berapa sih, guys? 14 sama, tapi kan lebih rentan mimpi.
The Soul Renewed! The Sweet Rasula talks post-disaster rebuilding. I recently visited Poisson to meet with Miss Navia, spokesperson of the Sweet Rasula, and we spoke about Poisson's present and future. Old soil can still give birth to new bloom, Miss Navia stated.
Juga ya sih
Hope
penting.
is like seeing a
3%,
small
guys.
cookie. Skyship Winglet, Booner Bane of the Fontaine Research Institute. The various disputes that have arisen on account of Mr. Edwin have suddenly become a sheep people always call.
Bisa terhilang, bisa tertambah.
Wow! Homer barely recognizes the people in the report.
What do you think? Pretty enthralling, huh? The value for these big scoops lies in their inept Edwin's assistant, Jurier created.
Hiram's curious too.
And that's exactly why I'd Oh, this time we'll be.
Jam 1 Pendeko jam 1 buka terus saya lu
Boring. Isn't there anything else more in...
udah Cuk, gua pulang dulu Cuk.
Interesting to do?
Apa?
Lu juga ngilang anjir tiba-tiba.
Mungkin
Ngilang juga udah gak ada suaranya.
Ini handphone.
Do we have anyone doing
Aku
Mobilin dia guys.
Iya udah mau tidur.
Hear me. Lights out. My apologies. Yeah. Yeah. Time to shine! I swear by my sword! You can't run! Yeah! Shiver! Kamisato out! Selamat! Yeah! Whirling snow! Yeah! Let the world collide! Wait, hear me. Judgment! My apologies! Yeah! I only wish life could be as leisurely as this a little more often. How greedy of me.
Who's our next target?
I see everything. Everyone hold hands.
Nowhere to run!
Oh, brilliant! Go as fly! Headlining, echoing song!
I swear by my sword.
I see everything. Sharing my knowledge.
Judgment is upon us. He's taking death! Death. A new cycle begins.
Astra at... Thank you for complete... Ad Astra...
Behold, the Prinzessin der Verurteilung.
Sure.
Shine down!
Why do they never miss?
Stabilize. Order guide you.
I'm going in!
Solidify.
There is no escape!
Let's light it up!
There are still so many places for us to explore.
Let's go find some treasure! Benny's adventure team, assemble!